Check, check. Yo, what's up, man? What's up, everybody? Yo, this is a special edition of this Tap In, man. We got a legend, a real legend, not just a hood legend. We got a real legend on this thing, man. Man, he don't need no introduction, but I gotta introduce him.
Who?
One-time NBA champion, Long Island legend, man. Yo, we have the horror himself, Mike James, man. Mike James, say what up, man, to the people.
What's up, good people? What's up, baby? Good on this side.
Man. Yo, man, it's good to see you, man. You looking healthy, you looking well. It's good, man. Really good to see you, man. The people want to see this, man.
Yeah.
Talk to him, man. What's the new, man? What's going on, man?
Oh man, just living life. Grateful, enjoying my family, entrepreneur. Focused on my businesses. Just constantly trying to grow as a man every day. Not being satisfied, appreciative and grateful for where I'm at, but not satisfied where I'm at and want more. And still trying to do it. It's not just the physical things that I'm pursuing. You know what I mean? On a whole nother spiritual journey. I believe that is very important, and I'm excited about where it's taking me.
That's dope, man, because you always been a man of faith, man. Ever since I was a little dude, I know you to be a man of faith and all that. I like to start this thing off, man. Like, where did it begin for you in that fire and that passion, of picking that basketball up, man, in the town? How did that look for you?
Man, I wasn't allowed to do too much. Even growing up next to the park, the only place I can go was the park. Right. I couldn't go nowhere else. I couldn't go on the block. I couldn't go down the street. I couldn't go on Natalie Avenue. I couldn't go to Browns. But I was allowed to go to the park. Right. And as long as my mom and my dad could see me in the park, they was okay with it. But what was crazy was the park was like the most dangerous place for the whole community. And none of the really played in the park. They had hoop courts in their front yard, because their parents really didn't want them to come in the park. But that was my safe place.
Give the people a look, man. What years is this that we talking about? We know about something, for us, we know who the block is. Give the people what years is that?
I'm the early 80s. I'm like, 8, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. I 82, 83. That's when the block was big. When I was a kid growing up, the thing that was crazy about the neighborhood and, that made us different was that we were Long Island and we were the suburbs, but there was so much money being pushed through the drug game in our neighborhood that it was money, flowing through the neighborhood. So guys wasn't, what you were seeing in Harlem, what you were seeing uptown, you were seeing in Amityville, because you were seeing the big BMW, you were seeing all the jewelry and all the, the guys, the drug dealers, and when I was a kid were rock stars, to us. We looked up to the drug dealers. They will be in the park. They'll come give us a couple of dollars. They'll come hang out with us, talk to us, and they'll try to school us on life. But they were famous and popular because nothing was going on in Amityville. But yet here it is, even though they're doing something negative, they was doing something and they was doing it big. So to us, we was like, man, I want to be like such and such. I get on me, man. So I can get my ride. So this was the hard thing to fight as a kid growing up in Amityville more than anything else, was being broke and holding on to my dream when everybody around me was making money. I think that was the hardest thing. That was a struggle for me.
That causes an ill dynamic too, right? Because you got the hood right there, and dudes making money, and that could pull you that way. And you got this leather ball right there that you starting to pick up. What's keeping you from doing that? You see the dudes getting money.
I remember the first time I got a package, and they gave it to me. Look, and it was on some. And it's weird how, the hood looks out for the youngins, even though they steer them down the wrong direction. If the youngin ain't making no money, he ain't got nothing going on for him. And then one of these OGs come over and say, you know what, I'm gonna look out for you because I know your people, or I'm gonna take care of you. Are they really taking care of them? But this is the only way that they know how to look out because they ain't got nothing else going on. Right. And so getting the package, it was weird because this day, no crackheads were outside. And you know, Amityville is infested with crackheads. Like you ain't got to look far to be able to sell you to be able to get you a 20 off. When I tell you, not one crackhead was outside, and I had the package on me for about 30 minutes. And all I was doing was thinking. Like it wasn't, you know, everybody else, the money was coming so fast that they can't think. Right. Like, you know, they package, they giving them, they give it, they get the bread in return. So it's like, shoot, I'm getting this money, so I'm not thinking about what I'm doing. I was sitting there just thinking, like, man, this is kind of whack. Man, if my dad catch me, this fool gonna kill me. You know what? Man, I got a better chance of being an NBA player than this right here. I don't want to go to jail. Like all these thoughts, I'm asking myself questions and I got enough time to answer the question. And most of my questions are so logical and it makes so much sense. It's like, what am I doing right now? Like this is ridiculous. You know what? Here go your package back. I don't want to have nothing to do with it. I'm a basketball player and I'm gonna shoot my shot and I'm gonna focus on this dollar and a dream. Maybe if the crackheads would have came around that day and I didn't have that time to think, you know, it's so fast, then maybe I would have got caught up just like everyone else. But for some reason, God has always had his hands on me, man. Like it's the craziest thing. When I tell you, my boys, the people that said that they grew up with me and got love for me that was in the streets, they used to drop me off, go handle their business, and then pick me up when they finish. They like, Mikey, we ain't letting you come with us, man. You got a future ahead of you. Look, we're gonna drop you off though. Drop me off home. I wanted to go. I wanted to be in the mix. I'm like, come on, dog, we good. Like, I'm good. I'm here. I want to be in the mix. And they like, nah, dog, we taking you home. You got a future ahead of you. But then they'll come pick me up like 3, 4 in the morning and be like, we got him. Whatever they did, they was like, yo, come on, come share what we done won. I'm sneaking out my window. You know what I mean? Like I'm wild that way. But at the end of the day, it was weird because growing up in the middle of the hood, God still covered me. And he still away from the foolishness, man. And I didn't understand it while I was in the middle of it. I used to always think like, man, why can't I go? Man, why can't I want to sell drugs? Like I want some money in my pocket. Why none of this stuff working for me? Right. And the crazy thing is, even before I can hold myself and understand what I was doing, God was holding me. And I'm so grateful for that. When I realized what was going on, like, oh, okay. Man, been walking me this whole time.
That's what it is.
That's where my appreciation, that's where my humbleness, that's where all of it come from because of how good God has been to me from the beginning. You know what I mean? Like I didn't just get on this ride with him. Right. You know, I was singing gospel songs in 3rd grade. You know, my mother coming home from work, she used to work nights. And she'd come home about 7 in the morning. And the first thing she'll do is turn the radio station on WWRL. I'll never forget it. Mm-hmm. Like it was the gospel station. And it was never clear. It was always cloudy. I would get more noise than the gospel song. But guess what? Those gospel hymns shaped me. Those things stayed with me. So when I used to be walking around with my boys, I might start singing, victory is mine. Victory is, they'd be like, come on, dog. Like, you tripping right now. But it would be a gospel song that's sticking out, that's inside my head, because this is what I woke up to every single morning. My mom would wake us up and then she would blast it throughout the whole house. And everybody was getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning, listening to WWRL gospel radio station. And we couldn't even hear the whole daggone song.
Yo, that's dope. That's dope because like, that was sort of how it was in my house as well, man. That gospel and all of that on those Saturday mornings, bro. Like, we couldn't sleep past 8 o'clock. You know what I mean?
Nah, ain't nothing going on. Ain't none of that. Ain't no sleeping past 7 o'clock, 7:30 in my house when I was a kid. Everybody get up, brush your teeth, wash your face, make your bed, and start your day. Right. So even today, I wake up like 4 a.m., 5 a.m. I just pop up and I'm up.
Yeah, that's a dope thing, man. To see that's like passed down through Black generations. But
Oh, that's
you hit something on the nail that I want to keep at, man, and it's the beginning, right? So basketball, is not all the way the thing yet for you. When does it start looking like, you know what, this thing right here can do something for me? When did you know basketball is something that you wanted to take serious?
I mean, I remember in fourth grade, Romeo was he was one of my teachers, I think my math teacher or something in elementary. And he had everybody, he said, well, he asked everybody, what do you want to be when you get older? And he asked me, he was like, Mike, what do you want to be when you get older? And I looked him straight in his eyes, I was like, I'm going to be an NBA ball player. And he laughed. And he said, Mike, listen, you have a better chance of being a brain surgeon than you do a basketball player. You need to figure out, like, seriously, something serious that you really want to look to be and aspire to be in the future. And I went like this, said, man, I'm going to the league.
Right.
He said, okay, we'll see. So the funny thing is, every time I came home to visit home and visit the school, he'll always bring up that story. Mike, you remember when I was using my class and I laughed at you and told you that you got a better chance of being a brain surgeon than a basketball player?
Wow.
Like, the funny thing is, I never allowed people to determine who I am for me.
Right.
Like, nobody could tell me, even at an early age, you know, I never allowed negative words towards me to hurt me, to put me in a shell, to affect me. I would just be like, you don't know me like I know me. Mm-hmm. Like, you coming from your opinion about me. Right. I'm coming from my own opinion about me. And my opinion about me matters more to me than your opinion about me. And so I don't have to listen to your opinion. I learned that early. I learned that from more people telling me I can't, from more people telling me I won't, from more people telling me, yo, you tripping right now. That's out of your reach right now. And I had no choice. I had to grow up. I grew up a narcissist. I grew up conceited. I grew up this way. And it was this way because I had nobody believe in me with me. I had nobody ride with me. So I had no choice but ride with me. Like, I had to say to myself, I'm the flyest dude. I'm the toughest dude. I'm the nicest dude. And even if everybody laugh at me when I'm saying it, you got to show me otherwise. Dope. I don't care what you say. Show me otherwise. When you on that hoop court, you can't tell me you nicer than me. Show me you nicer than me. Right. And then I'm going to bow down to you. But until then, man, you're going to get this pressure. And I'm going to give you pressure because most of my pressure that I played with, most of the thing that I played with was a weight from a childhood of everyone telling me that I'm not good enough. Everyone telling me that I can't. So this was always like my fuel. So, you know, that cockiness, that swag, I'm serious. When I played ball, the way I trained, the way I played, I wanted everyone to have a Mike James story.
That's dope.
I wanted everyone to walk away saying I was the best player that they ever played against. That's like, dope. I wanted superstars to be like, when that question is asked to them, who is the roughest player you ever played against? Even if they don't want to say my name because they don't know, because they don't want to really, because they don't want nobody else to believe that. They know in their heart. They know when I put that pressure on them, when they played against me, I wanted to embed something inside their head. So every time you think about me, I'm the roughest person you ever ran across. That was the way I trained. That was the way I played.
We're gonna hold off. We're gonna hold off on that part of that. On that, we're gonna hold off on the celeb or the dudes you played. We're gonna get to that. So fourth grade, you picked the ball up. Now, what's it looking like for middle school? How's basketball looking for you? Now you're in middle school. You're playing on the basketball team. How does that look? What is that looking like? What does a young Mike James look like?
We played. It was Operation. The first time I played organized basketball, Dottie Coleman, God rest her soul.
Yeah, R.I.P.
One of the pillars of Amityville youth. For sure. You know, she was one of the ones that kept an eye and kept an eye out on the young youth in the community. And it's needs for people like that. And I really appreciated what she was doing, bringing the basketball tournaments to the league and all the things. Operation Make It was amazing. And that was something that was needed in the neighborhood. And that was the first time I think I played organized ball. We was in like 6th grade. And
who's the guys out there with you? You know, you remember any of the guys on the court with you out there?
Huh?
You remember any of the guys on the court out there with you?
I mean, all the Amityville heads. Like, you know what's funny? Priest used to hoop. Maine used to hoop.
Yeah.
Who else, man? All the thugs played basketball.
All of them.
All of them played basketball first. You know what I mean? Like we was all hooping. We used to all be in the park. We was all just running with each other.
Right.
You know, Reese was one of the best players to come out of Amityville. You know what I mean? If Reese would have stayed with it, Reese was definitely an NBA basketball player. But this is the type of talent that was already in Amityville. And the funny thing is, when we was kids, we couldn't play on the main court. I honed my skills on the monkey bars. Like, that's how I became a good basketball player as a kid, because the older guys were playing on the main court, and then teenagers was playing on the second court. So if you one of the young kids, you can't play with neither. You can't play on the older court. You can't play with the high schoolers and those guys. They're not going to let you play. So the only way we played was on the monkey bars.
Right. Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy.
On the monkey bars.
At the back.
That's a fact, because we wasn't good enough. But then I got to a stage where I was like, man, I'm ready. I want to play.
Right.
And they used to be like, Mike, you can't play, man. And I used to be like, yo, I got next. And they used to be like, Mike, if you don't go over there and get out of here, dog, I promise you I'm going to kick your ball in the park. I'm going to kick your ball in the street. And I used to throw more bottles on the basket. See, I was that kid growing up in the neighborhood. Because of my big brothers, nobody wanted to mess with me. Right. That was, you know, all the kids my age, like, I wasn't no chump. So it wasn't like, you know, it was just like, oh, he's just a basketball player. I was hanging with all the guys that was running and rolling in the streets. So I wasn't no chump at no point ever during no period of age group. I was never a chump. So that part was established already. Right. But now it was the older guys. My peers respected me on every level of basketball. My peers respected me. I was always nicer than everybody, you know, that was my age. But I didn't want to play with them. I didn't like playing with them. I used to always want to play with the older guys. So I would sit on my basketball and just watch the older guys play. Boo Boo Berry, you know, I used to watch Boo Boo Berry, Provider, Gerard Turner, the Turners, the Berries. I used to watch all the OGs in the park and just watch them play. And I watch their moves. And then when we play, I'll try their moves on them. You know what I mean? So I was always trying to think about. And then when I started playing with them, man, it just evolved, and I just started getting good. First, they used to kick me off the court. Then they started picking me the last pick. Then I went from the last pick to, you know, I'm one of the first picks on teams now, but I'm a young boy though still. Yeah. 9th grade, 10th grade. By the time I was in 10th grade, when I was in 9th grade, we had a summer league. I played freshman basketball, Roy Volatin. Roy Volatin was probably.
Hold on. So how did your 9th grade year? Are you varsity now or are you JV?
No, I'm freshman basketball in 9th grade.
Freshman basketball.
I'm playing freshman ball. Roy Volatin is the coach, 18B team.
Okay.
Roy, to this day, was probably one of the most influential coaches I ever had. He was probably the coach that really shaped me. Like, he scared me straight. He scared me straight. I was so scared of him that if he tell me to run through a wall, I didn't want to do it. But the repercussions of what he might do, because he looked like he might hurt me, I'm gonna try to run through this wall right now because I ain't deal with him. Right. And I remember, like, he brought something out of me as a player, but he scared it out of me. I was so scared of him. Like, he slammed on a locker one day. It was like, Mike, if you don't start playing, I promise you, it's gonna be problems. Right. And I was so scared. at those words that he just said, I think I had like 25, 30 in the second half. Like, it wasn't because I wanted to, it wasn't because I was against my opponent. I didn't want to get in trouble from Roy Volatin.
Right.
So, you know, it was always something that people saw inside of me that I didn't know, I didn't see inside of me. But ninth grade ball, we went undefeated. You know, we playing. But that summer, I said, man, I'm playing varsity.
Okay.
I said, don't nobody in 10th grade play varsity in Amityville unless they special. Like, you don't play varsity in 10th grade in Amityville unless you something.
So who was those guys ahead of you at that time?
Man, Jay Joyner, Ronnie Johns, Pete Jones, Brim was on the team. I said Rich Taylor.
Was that squad a winning team yet? Or
yeah, we went to that was the first year we went to the States that year.
Okay, so that's your 10th grade year.
Yeah, that's my 10th grade year.
So what is it looking like? You got a young Agostino. What's it looking like? How's that team looking?
Yo, this is how I made the team though.
Okay.
Brim told Ag about me.
Okay.
Yo, Ag, we got this ninth grader in the neighborhood, like this young boy, and this kid could play, man. Like, you need to bring him down. Ag was like, man, we'll bring him. Chris was coaching a summer league game. We was playing spring league basketball. Chris was coaching the game. And Brim kept saying, yo, put him in the game, put him in the game. It was like, we'll get to him. So the first quarter went by, they ain't put me in. So it was like 6 minutes went by in the second quarter. They still didn't put me in. All I'm thinking now is, man, I could have stayed in the park for this crap right here, right?
Right.
In the game, with 4 minutes left in the second quarter, I had 12 points, 2 assists. They like, who the hell is this kid? Like, everybody was like, I mean, first play, came down, hit a 3. Next play, came down, hit another 3. Next play, drove to the back. And they looking at me like, yo, like I just went just straight, just red. I was angry. I was on the bench, first of all.
Right.
So I came out hooping. So now they like, okay, this kid can do something. So I had like 16 in that game, the first summer league game. So now I'm playing spring league with them. They playing. So I'm on the team now. I'm a sophomore and I'm on varsity this year. They used to call me silly sophomore. I used to always get in trouble. I was always silly, you know, talking all the time. But I can remember when we went to the States, this when I knew there was something different about me. When we went to the States, we had t-shirts that said we're on a mission. I used to wear a headband because I had my baldy. I used to have my bald head and my headband, right? I had my headband. I wrote on my headband, I'm on a mission. Like, so I already had that mindset. It was already embedded in me. You know what I mean? That I knew that it was something special about me. I knew I was going to be great. And I wasn't going to allow nothing. I wasn't going to stop myself. I wanted to see it. I wasn't going to quit. I wasn't going to give up on it because I was like, man, I want to see it. I want to see if you really going to be that person you think you are. Like and so it was like, I'm not going to be the reason why I'm not going to see it, from quitting, from failing. So regardless of what I got to go through to see this, I'm going to put myself through the fire.
So the motivation is there now. The motivation is there. You want to play varsity now. Now it's 10th grade. It's 10th grade. How does that season turn out? How you looking now on varsity? Are you starting, coming off the bench still?
Grade year. I killed that 10th grade year. You know, I had records and I hit like, man, my 11th grade year is when I made my records. I made all the records that everybody broke just recently in the play. And I was like 6 for 6 and 7 for 7 against Brentwood, you know, 6 for 6 in the Long Island, the ABCD game. I mean, I probably hit like 33s in like 4 games or something crazy though. You know, I'm going ham, you know, every game. That was my 11th grade year. But I'm starting to come into my own. You know, I'm starting to really believe that I'm a good basketball player. And every tournament I play in, I'm killing my peers. So I'm like, you know what? This NBA dream probably I can still keep this NBA dream because I'm still nicer than all my peers.
So on your high school team, so when you're ending it off, you ended it off as your 11th, your 12th grade year, how y'all looking as a team? Are y'all winning?
We lost in the second round. Man, they put a triangle and 2 on me. And
What team?
I
What's that? What team is that? What team is that? You remember?
West Hampton. That was the first time I ever cried from a basketball game. I bawled like my mama whooped me. You know, just realizing that my high school career is over with. And now I'm about to have to go. Now I got to be a big shark in the ocean, you know, instead of a shark in a lake. Now I got to go to a whole nother level. And, you know, nobody really was messing with me. You know, nobody coming out of high school. I didn't pass my SAT. So, you know, nobody was really messing with me. So I went to Redemption Christian Academy for a year. And that's when I grew up as a basketball player. That's when I became tough. That's when I knew I was tough. And that's when I became a basketball player.
So let's talk about that part, because, you know, that happens a lot in our town where the academic side isn't taken as serious. What is something that you would share with, you know, the younger cats about academics in high school?
I would, you know, I didn't have no one pushing me as an adolescent. You know, from 5th grade, I didn't bring a book home from 5th grade on. You know what I mean? Like I had to, you learn, and it's not good, but you learn survival of the fit early. And this is what I learned in my community. This is what they taught me first, was survival of the fit. Only the strong survive. So you figure out how to maneuver. You figure out how to keep making it work, fixing it, even if it's broke. You still learn how to put glue on it, put tape on it, and make it work for you. And I learned, and I tell people all the time, if I could do anything different from my adolescent age to now, what would it be? I would sit in the front of the class and I wouldn't have to wait on no one to sit me down to learn. I would ask questions and focus myself and won't have nobody to depend on. I won't use that excuse. I didn't have no one to help me because I was still smart enough to do it myself, but lazy enough not to do it because no one was pushing me. And I was a child and I didn't know no better. And when you're a child and when you don't want to do something, you're going to buck it every single time because you don't really know what's good for you in that moment. And I didn't understand what was good for me in that time, especially when no one was trying to help me understand what was good for me.
That's deep, because that is definitely something that's in our town, man. In our town, that's the academic side is something that a lot of us don't really deal because we're in that survival mode so early in life. So that's a dope message that you just pushed on. So now you went the prep route. What colleges is hollering at you now?
Fairleigh Dickinson was hollering at me. That was the only Division I school. Coach Ag told me that I was going to be, he was like, look, your best bet is just go D2, D3. You're not a Division I basketball player. You can't play on that level, so don't even try.
Right.
That was speech to me just like that. I was like,
come on, Ag. Come on, Ag.
Like, tell me how you really feel.
Right.
But I'm like, yo, I'm a D1 ball player. I don't care what you say. So Gary Charles, I was playing in I just finished Redemption. You know, there's nothing but 5 guys, ball players from the boroughs. All the top players from New York City was going to Redemption when I was there. And I mean, it was some of the nicest ball players from New York. And what that showed me, and from Long Island, it was me and Paul Coberson. Paul Coberson and I, we were roommates. And, you know, 6'6" point guard from Roosevelt. And he was a nice, Paul could play. But the crazy thing is, we was running Redemption. Him and I, we was on some Long Island over everything, like type thing. We had the only like room. Everybody else had to sleep in bunkers and like cots out in the open. We had like a room inside the area, but we was like, yo, we taking this. Like this is out. We taking this, we putting our stamp on it. We putting this is Long Island right here. What y'all want to do? Yeah. This is how Paul was at Redemption, right? So now, not only am I growing as a basketball player, playing against some of the nicest ball players that I've met in New York City. Now, I'm also...
Who you playing against? Put some names out there, man. Who's
man, Terry Thomas, the GOAT, George Brown, Pop, Mike Estevez was one of the nicest point guards from Queensbridge. He played just like Kenny Anderson. Left. When I tell you a Spanish boy from Queens, from left frack, he was from left frack. When I tell you this was one of the nicest guards I've ever seen in my life, I was so amazed with how good he was as a ball player, but he pissed me off so much. I hated him because of how soft he was as a person and how he didn't take advantage of his opportunity. Right. So that was one of the ways that I found myself having beef with him, because I used to be so mad with his skill. Like, how you so skilled and gifted, and here it is, I gotta bust my tail every single day in order to be okay. I wasn't even the best player on my prep school team. It was about maybe 40 players on our prep school team. We had 2 teams, but I was still starting. You know what I mean, on my prep school team, because the crazy thing is, wasn't nobody out tougher than me. That was the thing. You may be more skilled than me. You may be more athletic than me, but I bet you all the money in your pocket, you ain't gonna out tough me. And no matter how tough you get, I bet you still won't be tougher than me. Right. That was the thing that made me who I was as a ball player. It was never really my skill level, because my skill level was really, it was my mindset. And what I really like, you gotta match my mindset, and you gotta match my toughness. And most people couldn't match my toughness because I'm relentless. I'm not gonna stop. Like, I'm gonna break through your adrenaline. You know, most people only allow their adrenaline to get them to a certain stage. And then once their adrenaline wear down, then that's enough to give them their momentum. My thing was always, I know you bringing adrenaline with you, and my job is to beat past that adrenaline. I'm gonna knock past your adrenaline. Like, I'm gonna make you quit. Once your adrenaline stop, you're gonna quit. Right. And that I used to love that. I used to love looking at a player, seeing him bending over, grabbing his shorts. I used to be like, ooh, I got him. You fool. Like, it was always a mental game with me. It was never about the physical. It was always, how can I always play chess. Even with life, how to play chess. I don't play checkers. Every move is an important move, and every move is strategic. And so the move that I make, what is the purpose behind it? I don't want to make just moves just to make moves and get nothing out of it. Right. So your next move now, after redemption, what we doing now? Man, nobody really wants me. I did get my SAT score. They let me go at redemption, and I'm home now. And it was a Saturday evening. Gary Prince called me. GP, you know, he used to run the Long Island Panthers. Shout out to GP. He called me, and no, not Gary Prince, Gary Charles. I'm sorry. Gary Charles called me and was just like, yo, Duquesne is coming to see you play tomorrow. You better show up on time, and you better not go out there acting like a fool, and you better be on your best behavior. They got 1 scholarship left, and they looking to sign a guard. I said, Duquesne? I said, what's Duquesne? I said, where Duquesne at? He said, Pittsburgh. I said, what division is that? He said, Division 1. I said, oh, ain't nothing else to talk about right now. Right. He won bet. I went there. The next day, we was in Roosevelt Park on Sunday, like 7 in the morning, we was playing. I did 2 moves. I remember one of the moves I did, it was a cat coming down. It was a cat. Like, I split the press or whatever, threw it, took one more dribble, and took off from so far and dunked it so hard, you know, that the coach said, I ain't got to see no more. I'm bringing him on a visit on Tuesday. It was Sunday. They brought me on a visit on Tuesday. He stopped. He didn't have to look at me play no more. After those 2 moves, he was like, I'm sold. They brought me. When I saw the 2 guards that I had to play against, like the 2 starting point guards for Duquesne, I was going at their neck. Right. I tell you, I was like, oh, these are starters? Oh, it's a wrap. I'm coming here. John Carroll told me this. It was the end of August. He said, Mike, listen, we don't have no scholarship. It's too late for you to sign the scholarship papers. He was like, he had a yellow sticky paper. He wrote the secretary's name, and he wrote her number. He said, trust me. On October 1st, whatever date it was, he said, come to school on this day, call this number, you got a scholarship. Just trust me. You got a scholarship. I just can't. You just don't have to sign no papers now. But believe me, you got a scholarship. Just come to school on this first day, and you're enrolled. I said, okay.
Right. What we doing? What we doing?
Like, yeah. I was like, all right, like, you sure I'm going to school? So I'm happy. I can't wait to tell everybody I'm going back to the neighborhood. I'm going to college. I'm going to D1.
Right.
So, you know, my boys take me to school, you know, and then my career started. My freshman year, John Carroll told me I was the worst basketball player he's ever seen play basketball. He told me that if I ever shoot the ball in a game again, he'll rather have a walk-on start before he ever let me see another minute. Yeah, so, and I'm thinking to myself, man, I got records in high school for three-point shots. Right. Like, damn good shooter. Like, are you serious? You telling me don't even look at the rim? I was so messed up. I was going to transfer my freshman year. I mean, after my freshman year, I was going to transfer. Didn't know where, but I knew I was going to go somewhere other than this. And he got fired that year. He got fired that summer. That next year, I made third team All-Atlantic 10.
That's big time. That's big time.
Man, to come from coach saying that about me to making third team All-Atlantic 10 my sophomore year. And my junior year didn't do really much. My senior year made first team All-Atlantic 10.
That's big time.
You know,
so what's your head now? Is your head now telling you, you know, should I take this next step and go? Or you like, you know what? It's over.
I'm my peers. I'm still killing my peers. The people that are my age group, I'm still having my way with them. You know what I mean? So this is what made me believe. So that first year, I didn't get drafted. I'm watching the draft. You know, my name don't get called. I'm a little disappointed. Okay, I go overseas my first year. I make like $22,000 my first year.
Where you at? Where are you at?
In Austria. I'm in Austria. In Vienna, in St. Pölten, Austria. They gave me $22,000 my first year. It was so disrespectful, but I had nobody calling my name. I had nobody calling me, so it was like either humble myself and swallow my pride and take this check, or stay home and hopefully somebody will call me with my background being from Duquesne, which don't nobody know nothing about no Duquesne basketball. So I swallowed my pride, went overseas, you know, balled out that first year. Was up for MVP votes. We won the championship that year. I asked for $30,000 that next year. The GM laughed at me. He said, yeah, all right. We'll give you $30,000 when you wake up, like go to sleep and wake up, like from your dream. So I was like, all right. So I left. So then the next year, a team brought me in on a visit, like a trial. And they brought me in for a trial. Basically, they don't even think I'm gonna make the team. I wound up third in MVP votes in Pro A France the next year. Chalon and Champagne, they gave me $30,000. You know, I wound up being like second, third in MVP votes. So that year, that summer, I go to a Ed Pinckney Summer League in Miami. My agent is telling me, you know, the Heat pro teams are going to be there. My wife is pregnant with my firstborn. You know, I'm living in Louisiana with my my in-laws. And every day, this is how I'm training, believing that I'm going to get an opportunity for a team to bring me in just for a camp, anything, just bring me in. You know, this is my second year overseas. I killed both years. So hopefully a team. So my only chance was this Ed Pinckney Summer League. That summer, it had to be about 105 degrees every single day, my dude. I was training in this gym, trusting God, believing God heavy that he would open these doors. But all he's given me to work with is a gym with no AC. If it's 105 outside, it's probably about 115, 120 inside that gym. I had two, the barbells, the weights that are the concrete, the plastic and the concrete inside.
Yeah.
I had two 35-pound of those. That was my bench press. Was those 235 with the concrete coming out, and I had 225 dumbbells, the big metal ones rusted out. These was my only weights that I had to do. I had nobody in the gym rebounding with me. I would run 6 miles every day. When I tell you it was so hot, I used to think I was going to die out there.
Mm-hmm.
But I believed that my opportunity to be in front of an NBA team was going to be that summer. So I had to prepare myself. I had to get ready with all I had. I didn't have nothing else. But I was like, when I get my chance, I ain't making no excuses. It's a wrap.
Right.
So into the Ed Pinckney Summer League, killed the Ed Pinckney Summer League. The last game, the championship game, I had to leave because my wife was like, she was like 9 months pregnant. My firstborn about to drop anytime. I done killed this whole summer league for like 4-5 weeks. I'm ready. I'm like, you know what? Y'all seen everything I could do. I'm going home. So the boy, Miami came to the championship game. The boy that killed in that championship game got signed to Miami that year. So I was a little hurt from that right there. Like, man, this is some bull crap.
Right,
it was Jamal Robinson. You know, Jamal Robinson from Queens, 6-point guard that went to University of Virginia. So he was at the summer league also. So he signed with Miami that summer. I went back overseas and I played another year in France. Killed again that year. Now, Miami, you know, they heard about me. So now they watching me because they heard about how well I played in that summer league. So Ed Pinckney's telling them about me. So they got an eye on me this year. So they bring me to a basketball camp, a weekend, Friday, Saturday, go home Sunday basketball camp. It was about 40 players in the gym. I said, it's a wrap. Can't nobody get this spot. I said, this is the closest I've ever been to an NBA court. I said, it's a wrap. Ain't nobody getting this. I'm picking everybody up 96 feet. You going to get water. You going to get water. I'm on your neck, breathing on you. Like, you can't have, I ain't saying nothing to nobody. I ain't talking to nobody. I'm just breathing on people. I'm putting pressure on people. Like, you can't have this. Like, you can't have this. And then when they get mad at the pressure that I'm putting on them and they try to get mad and I'm going to give it back to you.
Right at him. Right at him.
Now I'm about to give you this work. Like, I'm about to give you this real work right now. Right. So that weekend was up. They said, Pat Riley called me in his office. He said, I couldn't evaluate you in 3 days. Can you come back? Can you stay this week and we can evaluate you and just stay one more week? I said, yeah, definitely stay. So I stayed that whole week. They brought in 30 new players. They brought in about 15 new guards, free agents, all of that. Man, none of y'all getting this spot, dog.
Yeah.
Hell, y'all. I'm looking at them. I'm looking at all the guards that are at the gym, and I got my lip turned up at them. And I'm just mad right now. Like, well, y'all think y'all getting this? Like, they trying to befriend me and be friendly. I ain't friending nobody. I like every time I go into the training room, I can get me a pair of socks. I like, you know what? These shoes don't feel right. Can I get me another pair of 12 and a half? They're like, yeah. I'm like, ooh, I can get shoes and socks anytime. Man, y'all can't get this. Y'all not getting. Y'all not getting.
It's once again your faith background and then your background of, yo,
faith
you're not gonna tell me what I can't do.
Faith and works. I show you my faith by my works. I show you how much I believe in you, God. How much I trust in you. I'm going to stand with your word, but I'm going to put forth the work that I can control. I'm going to control. You open those other doors. You open people's hearts. But this on this basketball court, God, give me favor. Place your supernatural. That was always my prayer. Place your supernatural upon my natural. In my natural, I'm not good enough. My skills are not good enough, but it's only when your supernatural is upon me do I stand out. Am I special? So that was always my prayer. And I mean, when I tell you, man, I was killing everybody that summer. I stayed that whole summer. Every week, Pat Riley would say to me, we couldn't evaluate you in a week. Can you stay another week? He did that 3 more weeks. We couldn't evaluate you in that week. Can you stay another week? And they'll bring in about 10 more guards. We couldn't evaluate you for a week. Can you stay another week? They'll bring in 10 more guards. Like, he can't be the best guard that's out there right now. And every guard, I'm telling you, had Bimbo Coles, Khalid El-Amin. I'm talking about whatever nice guard that was a free agent that year, Travis Best, any one of them, man, you couldn't have this spot. I'm picking you up 95 feet. I'm telling you, I'm going to pick you up so hard, you're going to want to punch me in my face. But I bet you don't punch me in my face, though. I bet you that. And so
what's next? Where does it finally click for you? Like, okay.
I get cut. I make it, Pat Riley, they bring me to the, I make it to the final cut that year. You know, I get cut, the last cut for Rod Strickland. They brought in Rod Strickland. So I'm like, shoot, I'm cool. Like, I'm going back overseas. I got NBA, you know, a little bit of NBA on my belt now. So now Paul Artez, and it was some what they call them, some EuroLeague teams was now starting to come find interest in me. So now I'm finally about to start making money overseas.
Right.
So I'm tripping. I'm like, man, I'm about to start making, I'm now breaking them 6 figures. You know what I mean? Now I'm about to start making that bag over there. So Chet Cameron was the head scout for the Miami Heat. He said, Mike, you go overseas, out of sight, out of mind. I said, what you want me to do? He said, go to the CBA. CBA, I said, man, CBA, man, that's the bottom feeders. And I remember the Pittsburgh Piranhas used to play in the CBA when I was in Duquesne, and they team used to play on our home court. And I used to always go to the games. And I used to always be like, man, I'll never play in this trash league. This league right here, trash, like, like trash. Like, I'll never do this. So when Chet said, yo, you got to go to the CBA, I was like, CBA? Like, what you mean, dog? I remember when I was calling this trash when I was in college. So you telling me the very thing that I said I'll never do, I got to do? Bet. My first 5 games in the CBA, I probably shot 6 for 80. I remember we was playing against Saskatchewan out in somewhere North Dakota, the Dakotas. And I shot like 2 for 25 this game. Mm-hmm. I called my wife, and I'm on the phone crying. I'm like, I can't do this no more. I was like, I can't watch this. I was like, the last 6 games that I played, I don't know who this person is. I don't know what's going on, but I was like, I'm not no 10-day type dude. I'm not no disrespect to a person that get 10-day contracts and play in the NBA for 10 days and then go back to the CBA.
Right.
Like,
you know who you are.
I was like, that's not what I visualized for myself. Right. I'm not that type of player. Right. And I said, now I'm playing like trash and I can't watch it. I can't bear this. It's killing me inside right now because I'm expecting more from myself. And so I told her, I'm done. I was like, I'm done. I'm coming home. I quit. And I mean, I'm bawling on the phone. And she's like, nah, baby, hold on. Trust me, it's going to get better. I'm like, nah, I can't watch. I can't see this another game. I can't watch this another game. So she calmed me down. I called one of my peoples. I mean, I'm crying the whole night. Everybody looking at me, oh B, like, you know, but I don't care. Like, this is a turning point, really, I think, in my career, because I really was ready to let the game go. Because it was like, you know what, if this is all I'm gonna get out the game, then it's like, man, I'm good. I want something better out of life instead of letting this thing crush me and keep hurting my feelings like this. Right. Getting to a certain point, I can't overcome it. So I said, I'm done. But then what's crazy is the next 2 weeks I was in the CBA, I was averaging 35 points, 13 assists, 14 rebounds, 7 steals. Like, stupid. It was stupid. My numbers,
those like Wilt numbers out there.
My numbers were so stupid. It was stupid how stupid my numbers were. Yeah. For 2 weeks straight, I was the player of the week. Uh-huh. Right after that, I'm telling you, right after that conversation I had, the next 2 weeks, I was player of the week in the CBA, throwing up the most ridiculous numbers. And then Greg Popovich called me. San Antonio was bringing me in for a 10-day. Right. I called one of my people from Miami. I was like, yo, San Antonio's bringing me in on a 10-day. Like, you happy for me? I'm so excited, yada, yada, yada. She was like, what? I'm going to call you right back. She worked in the front office. She called Randy's son. Randy's son called me the next 5 minutes and said, Mike, we guaranteeing you for the whole year if you come back to Miami. I said, 10-day? Guarantee. I'm going back to Miami, dog. I know the play, I know the team, I know the system. I'm going to Miami. But honestly, I will, in my heart, my biggest regret in my professional career was not going to San Antonio.
Why is that?
I believe that Greg Popovich, check it though, this is before Tony Parker signed with this is before Tony Parker got drafted by San Antonio, right? The year before, I gave Tony Parker 25 in France. So when Tony saw me, when I was in Miami and Tony was starting for the San Antonio Spurs, when he saw me, it was like, Mike, how are you? Bonjour, say bye, da, 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 da.
Yeah.
This is how Tony came at me. Like, yeah, you know who I am. Like, so when I saw Tony, I was never impressed with Tony's. Like, Tony game never really impressed me. Cause I was always like, man, I know. Like, I know your game. I know you, and you don't impress me. So I believe that if I would have went to San Antonio, Popovich would have got to see who I was. He'd have got to see my personality. What most front office and coaches took for granted with me was my work ethic. They looked at my work ethic like it was just cute. Like that's just, oh, look at him. He just out there working hard. But they didn't understand that I worked this hard. You know, one of my boys, one of the youngins that I raised, you know, here in Houston in the game, one of the best players from the city right now, Shannon Shorter. He playing in Turkey this year.
Okay.
I remember we was hooping one day and he said to me, Mike, you ain't shit. And I was running back on defense because I just scored. And he looked and was like, man, you ain't shit. And I was running back on defense and I thought about those words and I stopped. And I said, you know what, Shannon? I said, you right. I ain't shit. But I said, you know what's crazy? My workload is so heavy, you can't mess with that. That's what you can't handle. You right, my skill, you can deal with that. But you can't deal with my workload. And that's screwing you over right now. Not because of my skill, my talent. This workload that I put on you, you can't deal with that because now that's when I'm preparing for the best. I'm preparing for the greatest. I'm preparing because I wanted to be great. I wanted to be a household name. When you talked about Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Isaiah Thomas, when you talked about, I wanted to be a 75. That's how I trained. I trained to be a 75. I just never got a chance really. You know, there's 3 levels in sports that you play at. The first level is, in any professional level, is proving yourself. You want to prove that you're long. You want to prove that you're just as good as everybody else there. That second level is you've arrived. You know that you're good. You know what you're capable of doing, and you understand what your do's and don'ts are. That third level is greatness. These are the ones like the Kobe Bryants, the Michael Jordans, the ones that do stuff that don't have to do it no longer. And people be like, yo, why you work so hard? What they don't understand is those guys, they train versus the history of the sport. See, they compete against the history of the sport. They're not competing against they trying to break the history's records. They looking at their peers like, man, I'm so far beyond you. I'm not thinking about you. I'm thinking about somebody that played this game 20 years ago. I got to outplay him. Later for who's great in my level as my peer, whatever to you. But there was somebody that was greater than both of us that played this game 15, 20, 30 years ago. I want to compete against him. I want to beat his records. And that's the level that I trained at. But the level I played at, I was only allowed to get to the level of proving myself. I never got past having to prove myself. So my whole entire career as a professional athlete, I was never able to get comfortable in my skill. Every year, I had to show them who I am. I got to prove them. When I get in the game, I got to go 4 for 4. If I don't, I'm not playing the next 2-3 games. So I had to play like this my whole entire career. If I'm on the bench, put me in the game for a minute, I got to have 4 points, assist, a steal, a rebound. I just got to. Because
So
if I don't,
I'm gonna fast forward this now. I'm gonna name some names for you, and I want you to just give me your feelings. All right? Detroit Pistons. What do they mean to you?
Man, that's my family. That was the greatest team ever. You know, I always made the statement, Miami is where born as a basketball player and where I grew up as a basketball player. You know, Miami gave me my my skill level, my work ethic. To be professional, how to be professional, how to work hard, how to conduct yourself. This is what Miami gave me. Detroit, man, it was go hard, play hard. It was nothing but dogs around me. I had 14 other pit bulls around me.
Who was those dogs? Who were some of those dogs you was with?
Wallace Williamson, Elton Brand, man, one of my closest boys, man, Rasheed Wallace, Ben Wallace, Tayshaun Prince, Chauncey Billups. I mean,
you got Lindsey Hunter on that team too, right?
Who? Lindsey Hunter, my dog. Him and I, Rasheed used to call us the Pit Bulls.
Yeah.
And the only reason why we played defense like that, because we was both nuts. I'm a shooter. I love to score. Lindsey was a nut. Larry Brown was like, listen, Chauncey Billups is a nut. Rip Hamilton is a nut. I'll be damned if I have my backup guards coming in the game nuts. Y'all better pass the ball and run the offense. So we gotta get steals, dog. We was like, listen, we gotta get steals. I gotta get me some easy buckets because I want to shoot. So I know if I get a steal, that's just an open transition. We ain't got to run an offense. There's no set play for a steal. We could throw a bad pass out of bounds and make a turnover on a steal. We won't get in trouble. You know what I mean? So we learned to scramble the game. So we was just helter-skelter. When Lindsey and I got in the game, I used to be on the bench. You know, it's funny how, now that I think about it, how I used to watch the game and study the game. You know, as the game was going on, I always studied my opponent. Like if I'm guarding a person, I would break down a person's offense while I'm guarding them. If I never played against them ever once, I'm not paying attention to the move that he with and saying good move. I'm gonna pay attention to footwork. I'm gonna pay attention to which hand he's real strong with. I'm gonna pay attention to which way he likes to go the hardest, which way he has trouble going. So by the 10th possession, so I used to be on the bench and be like, Lindsey, yo, he can't go left. Look, every time, watch this move that he makes. Every time he put the ball in his left hand, he fumbles it. Yo, listen, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna turn him 3 times in the back court. And then when he get by half court line, I'm gonna reach on him. And I'm gonna try to go for the steal and make him spin. And as soon as he spin, he's like, don't even worry, I got him. Mm-hmm. So my thing was, I would get him so caught up in me turning the back court. See, I would turn him 3-4 times in the back court. And then as soon as he go to make a move by court, I'll reach and make him make a spin move. And Lindsey will get the steal and I'll be down the other end for the layup. So, you know, we used to have so much fun out there, man. And when I tell you Detroit's team was one of the greatest basketball teams ever put together, I believe that team would match up against any championship team in any era.
Well, I'm glad you say that because you're one of the few guys that, you know, got to play against the legendary Kobe Bryant, rest his soul. What was that matching up like, man? I
mean, Kobe was a dog. You know, I got a funny story is, you know, I had 81 put on me with Kobe. And the funny, I didn't guard him one possession. I remember going to Sam Mitchell saying, Coach, like it was like the third quarter. Kobe had like 50 something, you know, he scored like 20 something in a row or something crazy. And I'm mad. And I said, Coach, let me guard him. And he looked at me and said, no, Mike, I don't want you to get in foul trouble. Foul trouble? You heard about foul trouble? This dude is killing us. So fast forward, I'm 38 years old, and I'm starting point guard for the Dallas Mavericks right now, right? And yeah, I'm 38 in the NBA starting. Took some of my position. Knew I was, and the funny thing about that year is, I had 3 coaches voted for me for first team all defensive team that year.
That's big time. That's big time. At 38,
man,
that's big time.
I'm gonna tell you another story about that first defensive story. Back to back. I'm gonna go back to back because it happened back to back. So I'm playing with Dallas now. So we in like the 9th spot to make it to the playoffs. And this game, we gotta win this game to keep our hopes up, for the 8th seed. This is the end of the year. It's on like TNT. Everybody's hype about this game. I've been averaging up until this game, like the last 10, 15 games, I've been averaging like 16 points, like 16 and 5 assists, right? So I'm feeling myself right now. And Rick Carlisle gives me the responsibility to guard Kobe this game. So I didn't get a chance. And ever since that 81 game, I've been wanting to guard Kobe, and I never got a chance to guard him again. So I am juiced on Mountain Dew right now. Like, ooh, like this is what I want. All right, fast forward. The game start. I get 2 fouls in a minute and 30 seconds, right? So I'm sitting on the bench now, mad as I don't know what, right? Listen, we lost the game. We got our butts kicked. We got blown out, right? I had a donut. I didn't even score. Had a donut, had like 5 fouls. So the next day, we go to Portland the next day. So we playing Portland the next night. Like, so, I got Damian Lillard now, right? So
Damian Lillard.
So a young Damian Lillard. This is like his 3rd year in the league, right? So my coach, Rick Carlisle, rips me. Who you think you are? Oh, you think because you've been playing good, all of a sudden, like you some hot crap now? You ain't sugary, with your old ass, He ripped me, dog. Ripped me in front of the whole team. I feel this big. So my feelings is hurt right now. And I had a donut, and I'm averaging 16. We play against Damian Lillard the next night, right? So I'm about to make a statement right now. This is a statement game to me. We still got our chances to make the playoffs. We still in the 9th spot. The first play, I run up on, when the game starts, like I run up on D Lillard and I whisper to him. I said, I heard about you. You that nice little youngin coming up now. You the next best thing in the league, huh? I said, you must want to tear my old ass up tonight. I said, I want to see it. Like, I just said just like that to him. Because I'm already hurt. My feelings is hurt from the last game. So I'm on one right now. So I'm talking about he came down court and he went pick and roll, right? And I jumped over the pick and roll and they threw the ball and the ball went out of bounds. I huddled my team up and I said it loud. I said, listen, talk on all screens because my man, he ain't doing nothing tonight. He ain't doing nothing. And I yelled it on purpose, right? So he could hear me. So I'm all about mindset. I'm all about where you at mentally. So I'm trying to, I know he nice. I know he that man, whatever. So he made a move one time. I said, ain't nobody going for none of those moves tonight. So fast forward, he got like 4 points at halftime, right?
Right.
And the that he scored was on somebody. I think we went zone and he hit a 3 and got to hit a free throw or some shit like that. But the second half, 3rd quarter starts, they got the ball. I run out. I said to him while they taking the ball out, I said, you thought my old ass was going to pick you up at half court, huh? I said, nah, I'm about to put that pressure on you. And he looked at me just like this. He looked at me up and down. He didn't say nothing to me. He just looked at me and rolled his eyes. Damian Lillard had like 8-9 points that night. We beat them by like 25. I had like 18.
That's that pressure. That's the pressure you was talking about.
Listen, all them cats. Deron Williams. I remember when Deron Williams used to be in Brooklyn. I remember one time we was playing in New York. and I was putting so much pressure on him. He looked at me. He said, yo, my man. He said, yo, Mike, man, you better calm all that down, man. I said, man, I went closer. I got closer to him. I want to see what you talking about, dog.
That's the Amityville in you.
You got to listen. I was so Amityville. I was, wherever I went, whatever team I played on, I never got smacked. I never got spit on. I never been disrespected, not one time. My whole career, not one time, because I didn't play. I didn't play. People, you had to give me my respect. I demand my respect. And if you don't respect me, we're gonna fight. And I know that's most cats said that ain't what y'all want. Y'all ain't built like that.
Right.
I know that y'all ain't built like that. So I've learned half of the league is a facade.
Right. So I wanna before we end this interview, it's a beautiful interview, bro. Beautiful interview. I gotta ask you, we got this alumni game coming up, right? You know, we got the dogs back. We got a bunch of dogs back. You know what I'm saying? A lot. If you've been paying attention, a lot of smack talk has been happening, man. They like, yo, they said, yo, if you're over 40, you better come in shape. Come on, God. What you bringing out there on that court, man?
Listen, I'm gonna say it like this. I'm gonna tell you two things. First, I got a hip replacement in June. Second, I'm 46 years old. And third, I will average 30.
Whew. You say that's a guarantee? Am I getting a guarantee?
Man, please. Like, I'm not even trying to, like, listen, I will average. Listen, if you ain't been, how can you guard me? I'm still in shape. I still do me. My weight's still up. My mindset is still the same. My physicality is still good. I bet you I will not score no less than 30 a game.
That's a guarantee. Yo, people gotta hear it. Guarantee for Mike James, you're gonna have 30 in that thing.
30, light work. 30. Nice. You better not put nobody on me my age. You better not. You better have one of them young boys that graduated in the late 90s, in the 2000s. You better not even put nobody on me that graduated in the 90s or the early 2000s. They better have graduated like 2011, 2012, 15, something like that. Anything above, anything that graduated in the 90s or anything before 2010 graduation is getting handled. Getting handled. You graduated 2010 or less, you getting handled. Get out of here.
Second question. I'm gonna put you on the spot with this one. Your top 5 Amityville players, man.
Oh man, Jason Frazier, Shelton Jones, Jason Frazier, Shelton Jones. You got to put AJ Price. I mean, you got to put me. I got my own court. You got to put me. You know what I mean? You got to put me. Okay. I'm one of the nicest in New York all time. So, you know, I can't even.
That's 4. That's 4.
The question was asked to me. Somebody asked me my top 5 greatest New York guards all time. And the funny thing is, after I named Rod Strickland and named Kenny Anderson, I couldn't think of nobody else but myself. Like, I couldn't think of, like, none of my peers were nicer than me. I passed all my peers, Stephon Marbury, Skip, all of them. They know none of them was on my level. So I can't put none of the guards, God, Sham, God, all them guards that's supposed to have been nice, and y'all couldn't. When I got to the level where I knew I was that dude, none of y'all was on my level. I gave everybody 40. Everybody got 40 put on them when I knew that I was that dude. So when I said best guards out of New York, once I said Rod Strickland and Kenny Anderson, I couldn't name, and Nate Tiny Archibald, I couldn't name nobody else but myself.
That's a dope perspective, though. I mean, I'm one of the guys who got to witness that up hand, man. Playing in pro-am with you. I mean, that was different, bro. When I was out there with you and I'm seeing what you doing to these dudes that's in the league. And I'm like, yo, at your peak power, you was one of the top guards in the NBA. And you know, that's your flowers, man. You've always been the Mike James I know, you know, you've always been a giver. You've always been solid, you know, with advice and all of that, man. And you deserve your flowers while you still here, bro. You know, you God-fearing and you just respectful at that. But you always cared about Amityville. And this is what this thing's about. You know what I'm saying? And you getting your flowers is well deserved. And it needs to be done. And I appreciate you for jumping on this here with me, man. And
appreciate you, man, for hollering at. And Tristan was a dog, man. Tristan was a dog. But you know what? When you got so much talent, Brim, yo, when I tell you Brim is one of the best athletes I ever laid eyes on.
I've heard that story. Story.
One of the best athletes I ever laid eyes on. So there's some great athletes that like the history never, it keeps getting better and better and keep evolving. Amityville breeds greatness. It's the problem. We don't know or understand our greatness because nobody ever taught us or showed us that we are great. Right. No one ever told us that we were great. The first words we hear are we're losers, we're nobodies, we're nothing. And then we got to overcome these type. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. Right. Speak those things out as though they were. And when you're used to hearing negativity being spoke about you all the time, you start believing that thing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I know the talent that we got in Amityville, man, we supposed to be no different than any one of these other great cities that breed Division I basketball players. D1 schools ain't even supposed to ask. They just supposed to go to the coach and be like, who you got? And the coach just give a name. They just say, I trust it. I'm signing them. Right. That's how good Amityville sports is. And that's the reason why it's even dope for you to have this little tournament that we're having, because it gives flowers to the generations of greatness of Amityville.
There it is.
But it ain't even about hours of one individual, man. That shows our bloodline, my dude.
That's what it is, bro, and that's what it's about, bro. And that's what it's about, man. And you're a big part of that, bro. You see the horror?
All day.
See the horror? See the horror, man. See the
all
horror,
day,
bro. All day, bro. So, bro, I just want to thank you again, man. I salute you, bro. You love, bro, and I appreciate you for jumping on this thing with me, man.
Thank you.
Love, bro.
Love. Appreciate you.
That's right.